And I'd like to say to the listening public that that was the voodoo economist in this House, or possibly the member for misleading information.
That's right.
I accept that he wasn't a moron at all, and I'm pleased that my colleague withdrew the comment, but...
No, order. Look, I ruled against the use of that term, and it's not appropriate to bring it in any form of debate following, so don't do it. John Hayes.
Thank you.
Point of order. Point of order, the Honourable Rick Barker.
The other point too I'd make, Mr Chairman, and you've been very good on your rulings to make sure that the House is in order. The member made reference to a member for such and such, and I thought that was disrespectful reference to members on the side of the House. The member is either the member for this electorate or is a list member. To call the member for misinformation, I thought was disrespectful to a member in this House.
No, look, there was no... the intent of that was not directed particularly at a member. These are debating points, and I'm sure that would be taken in the light of it as I call John Hayes.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. And the point at issue is this, that we've had two members speaking in this House who are both list members of Parliament. Unlike myself, who deals with a provincial area of New Zealand, the Wairarapa. And I have a great amount of connection with dairy farmers, sheep farmers, beef farmers. And I can tell you there's been a very important rain event in the northern part of my electorate, which, if you'll just bear with me, bears into this argument. The reason is this. Some of the farms in my electorate have lost more than 60% of the land area between Tauranga and Cape Kidnappers. And for that reason, we have tax rules, as I'm sure the Minister understands, that allows farmers to remove their stock, their capital stock, from their land, sell it, raise capital from it, and that money is treated as capital, not as income. Because when the pasture is restored, when the grass starts growing in the spring, those farmers will want to bring stock back onto their pastures. So it is fundamentally important that we have flexible arrangements, as we have in the legislation, for allowing this sort of transaction. But I have to say to the member that he is quite wrong, and I do not believe he understands the difference between a person who draws wages or draws a salary or pays an employee, all of whom are people who take money from the business entity for which they're working, and they pay full tax on that at whatever level of money that they're taking out. But that does not mean that the business and all dairy farmers pay no tax. That's absolutely outrageous to suggest. It is no. I think that you need to look at the issues that you're talking about it, and it's how you're talking about it. And I've got to assert again that this is voodoo economics, and you are just taking headline figures and you are wrongly interpreting them for the benefit of your argument. Now, I'd like to return to Clause 3 of Part 1 of this bill. And what I need to say is this. When the government took the reins of office in this financial crisis, the economy had gone into recession, had shrunk 3% a year, topping off 5 years of historically low growth. What happened then was that exports flattened out completely. Government spending responsible for David Parker, who was speaking earlier, he was a member responsible for this happening. Government expenditure was out of control. The Treasury books showed never-ending budget deficits beyond ability to spiral out to more than 60% of GDP and beyond. And despite the surprises, the two earthquakes and the global recession, our economy now, under John Key's leadership, is far stronger than it was 3 years ago. Now, we have improved the tax system so that we are setting up the signals for people in my electorate and elsewhere in New Zealand who want to improve their lot by working hard, by saving hard, by paying paying tax through GST rather than on income tax. And we've done that to improve the efficiency of the economy and to set up the signals so that people will respond better, so that they can put money in their pockets and spend it as they wish. Now, if we didn't do that, what would the member for, the list member across, what would they do? He would be involved in a government that would tax businesses. and on revenue, not on profit. David Cunliffe has already explained that they plan to spend $5 billion a year, but they won't tell anybody where they're getting the money from. Now, you've got a really good opportunity to do that. Well, maybe a turnover tax. I expect that they're going to give people a discount on GST. They've already said that in this House. That discount will cost about $250 million. It'll benefit 10% of households by a magnificent amount, $1.50 a week. Now, the government is talking about, the Labor Party is talking about a $5,000 tax-free threshold, but David Cunliffe says the tax-free regime won't happen for 5 years. And even then, that will be worth about $10 per week. And a month ago, Labor had fully costed policies, according to Mr Cunliffe. But then, fully costed policies on a spreadsheet.
Brendan Burns.
Thank you, Mr Chair.